Welcome to the Raw Food Health Empowerment Podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Salmon, certified holistic health coach and author of You Can Afford to Be Healthy. And this podcast looks at a holistic approach to health from a multi-generational and multinational perspective of women of color. Thank you so much for supporting the Raw Food Health Empowerment Podcast. We have some great content and events coming up in 2021 that I'm excited to share with you. If you enjoy this podcast and you enjoy the episodes you've been hearing, please share your favorite episodes with 10 of your friends and let them know that this podcast exists. My success is really dependent on you loving it and sharing it with your friends. So in advance, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. So we're talking today about Kamut.
About what?
Kamut.
Oh, Kamut. My favorite new friend.
Yeah. Tell me why it's your favorite new friend.
You know what I discovered? You were asking me describe to you what it tastes like. It tastes like corn. It tastes just like corn. Like when I eat it, I don't miss corn. And what happened, what I have to tell you, when I cook it the first time, it was a lot of chewing. But what I realized that is something that you have to, don't cook it in a hurry. Don't cook if you're hungry. It takes over an hour to cook, but you have to turn the light down very low and let it cook on a low temperature. And you must cook it in a lot of water. And when that water, enough water so that you can drain it in order to use it. Drain it off when it's cooked. It is delicious, Sam. I had it all week.
How are you seasoning it?
Interesting. It depends on what you're going to have with it. I cook it to taste. I put a little salt in it, a little oil, a little all-purpose seasoning, and that's it. A little dash of salt because I'm not a salt person. And a little all-purpose seasoning. That's the one without salt. And a little, about a teaspoon of olive oil. And the reason why I don't season it much because I have it with salad. And it's delicious.
So when this goes live and it's posted to YouTube, there will be an image of what you made when you made it last and you shared the photo. But for folks who don't know, so Kamut is a grain, right? And it does have gluten in it. So if you are on the elimination diet protocol due to gut issues, you're going to want to avoid it. If you have gluten intolerance, obviously avoid, but it is an intact whole grain. So if you are working to reverse type 2 diabetes, it's actually a really good grain to have for that group of people. So how are you using it? So you said you cook it by simmering it. It sounds very much like oatmeal, but you can use
it. Yeah, it sounds like steel cut oats.
Like steel cut oats, yeah, because you got to simmer that for a long time.
It takes over an hour to cook. To have
an hour.
Over an hour.
Yeah, so you really can't be hungry.
Yeah, you can't be hungry.
I would be upset.
Well, you know, I think I told you before, like, I don't cook something just to have one time, especially something like that. It would be a waste of time, waste of gas, waste of energy. So when I cook enough for it to last for a couple of days. Well, you can also freeze it if you want, but I don't freeze it because I know I'm going to eat it. I love it. You know, it's delicious. That's all I can tell you. I like it. Yeah, go ahead.
So when you're eating it, is it more like a breakfast or lunch? Like
dinner.
Okay.
I find it heavy. Because I tell you, it reminds me so much of corn, Sam. You know, it tastes just like corn. And I was trying to figure out what this thing tastes like. The first time when I made it, it was grainy like steel cut oats. But what I realized, I didn't let it cook the full amount of time. I was dying to know what it tastes like. So when I realized that I let it cook and it get a little soft and it tastes better.
So do you chew it less when you cook it the full hour?
Yeah, you chew it less because there's not much chewing to do, but it's very nice. I like it. I just want to know, because it have gluten in there, and I know sometimes gluten, it's just my perception of the whole thing. Gluten sometimes can put weight on around your waistline. So that's not something that as much as I love it, because I have a problem with waistline. And to all the people listening, they might agree with me. I have what you call the COVID-20 weight.
I got that too. It came off real fast once I started to notice.
COVID-20 weight. And I think my COVID-20 weight caused for me getting so relaxed in baking. But that's another show. We'll get into that.
Your baking game has been on point, though. Seriously.
I'm telling you, not to get off a Kamut, but my baking this week was a chocolate cake with banana, and it is delicious.
I bet. That sounds good.
Yes.
What did you use as the grain to make it stay together?
Oh, you have to use flour. You have to use flour to hold it together, and you use oats. But it's very, very nutritious, though. It's better than going to Dunkin' Donut and grab your donut. You cannot compare it. It's very nutritious.
You make pancakes too, and you don't use flour. Don't you use something else?
I mean, you have to use flour for pancake.
Because when I came there last year, you made pancakes for me, and it wasn't flour you used. You used something else.
It was flour, but
it wasn't wheat flour. It was some other kind of flour.
I use what's that thing named almond flour.
Almond flour, which doesn't have gluten.
No, I use almond flour. Yeah, I love pancakes though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing. You can use Kamut to make pancakes also. You can bake with it. Yeah. They have a lot of recipe. You could send that out to the group and let them see. But it's nice. I like it.
Yeah. So what inspired you to even try it?
Curiosity. See, because I am the type of person, I think you know me by now, I am not afraid of trying new things. Once I see something on the market and it looks healthy and it sounds healthy, I'll try it. I have nothing to lose, really. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll try it.
So you was just walking in the supermarket and you saw Kamut and was like, let me try it? Or was there a recipe you saw and so you looked for it?
No, let me explain something to you. I am so proud of our grocery stores now. Every grocery store that I go in, there is one special aisle that they have Bob Mills. You know Bob Mills?
Bob's Red Mills.
Bob's Red Mills. Yeah. And they have other type of nutritious food, dry goods. And most of them are organic. So I'm always stuck in if it's not the green grocer, is that aisle where they have the dry goods. The package thing, like that's where I get my
the bacon aisle.
Bacon and my flaxseed and chia seed and all that stuff. So cool. I was happy to see those. So when I go shopping and I get my coconut sugar there, that's another thing. When I bake, I don't use regular sugar. Mm-hmm. I use coconut sugar. And I also like date sugar, but it's hard to find. But the same Kamut, you can use it and make, they tell you though, you can bake with it. So,
So far, your favorite way is just to have it how do you prepare it? Like in what kind of meal are you putting together with it?
Okay. One day I have it with salad. The next day I have it with cabbage. The next day I have it with string beans and mixed vegetable. So that's what I have it with so far. Mm. As a matter of fact, it could be my new rice. I just have to be very careful that I don't gain no weight around I can't afford it.
Well, it's something to look and observe. If you have it 5 days straight and you notice, then yes, that's it.
No, well, I'll give it a break. But it's nice. It's very delicious, you know?
Yeah, it's weird to me because when I look at the picture and then you say it tastes like corn and then you tell me how you're eating it, I just cannot imagine it. You
It's
know?
delicious, Sam. It's very nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah. Well, it's something to try because folks are always asking me, I need new ways, creative ways to eat this way, to eat clean, to eat healthy. And there's just so many different options. And Kamut is something we haven't really talked about at all. So it was so interesting to me that you're like, oh, I just made Kamut. I'm like, what? What
I,
inspired that?
is it a Egyptian? I don't remember if it was Egyptian food or
Where
Middle
it's
Eastern.
from. This, it seems the legend has it, according to Kamut.com, that it was found in Egyptian tombs,
Ah,
which I
Tom.
guess is why it's called an ancient grain.
Wait, tomb is a Tomb?
Yes, yes, tombs.
Where they bury people?
Yeah, I guess they thought it was that important. They should go with it. They should take it with them
Oh, so
to the next life.
I have a second thought on that.
Why? You only need seeds. You know that's the circle of life, Ma. You were raised on the farm, so you
What am I really eating?
what you know what you eating. There is nothing new. That's called enriched minerals. I remember when we went to Catadupa, where you're
Mhm,
from, which is
mhm,
all like farmland. Apparently, they have
mhm.
the cows just walking through there, and they just
Yeah.
defecate everywhere. Number two, and they're just
Well, they're free.
yeah. Well, this and you know you have never seen feces until you've seen cow feces. It is the largest piece of
Oh, but
crap you've
that's
ever
what we
seen.
use that's the best manure though, because if you could basically those cow only eat grass. They don't eat corn or anything. They're grass fed cow. So
Yeah,
when that their feces become our best manure.
right. So then we eat that, right? That's the
But they
circle
don't
of life.
but they don't eat meat. There's nothing rotten inside of them. So there's
Right.
nothing to be afraid of.
Exactly.
And it just have a certain smell about it. It's not it doesn't have a stench. The minute you smell it, you know that it's grass coming out of the cow.
That's an interesting perspective.
And I know it's a lot of information, but it's true because I'm only speaking from experience, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This website, Kamut.com, they say that it's an excellent source of protein, high in minerals, including selenium. And selenium, we know, is really good for folks that have high blood pressure, I believe.
Oh, so that could help me then.
You know, with all the things, there's a give and take.
Hmm.
There are other foods with selenium that don't have gluten, like Brazil nuts we talked about.
Yeah, but I nuts is something that I find that I put weight on with nuts. I have to be careful, especially
Too
Brazilian
much.
nut. It looks so much like coconut, and it tastes so much like coconut.
Yeah. And we had talked about Dr. Greger said you shouldn't have more than one a week or something.
And
Remember?
one would yes, and yes, I remember that conversation. I tell it, he
It's
wasn't
crazy.
talking. He wasn't talking to me.
Like you have to have some serious control. But luckily for me, I'm not really into
Uh,
Brazil nuts like that.
yeah, you're
Like
not
to
a
make a milk, it's good to make a milk, but just
yeah.
snacking on Brazil nut, it doesn't do it for me.
Yes, when you go, don't be afraid to try new things because I was always open to new ideas because I find that when I travel and go to different countries, it's nice when you practice at home how to dance. So when you go abroad, you can dance very well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do. I go into the store and I spend time and I look and I said, I want something new today. So every week I try to find something new. Some of the stuff I find, so I haven't shared it with you, but eventually one day I will tell you about them. But spread your wings out. Don't be afraid, because when you go to these foreign countries, you don't have to, you can order the stuff because they fix it the way they want to fix it. You might not fix it like how they do it, you know, because everybody have their own taste, but don't be afraid to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you said, because back to what I was saying about how folks want creative ways to maintain this lifestyle. They get bored of eating the same stuff all the time. How do you get inspiration for new things? Is it stuff you see in the grocery store or stuff you're seeing online or both?
Well, the way I get now, I don't go with what I see in the grocery store, because I spend a lot of time when I go to the grocery store. I look for new ideas, I look for new things. And what I do when I come home with it, I says to myself, no, you know nothing about this. So what I do, I'll just go online and research and see what is good for, how you're supposed to prepare it, and what you're supposed to do. And another thing, the reason why I do it, because I used to love to travel, and I use the word used to, but I'll explain that later. And when I travel, I like to eat the native food of wherever I go. Mm-hmm. So to me, when I try new things, I'm always in preparation of what to come. Like if I travel, I said, okay, let me try this, because I want to know the way they make it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm very curious about things like that. Always curious about food.
That's cool. So you're traveling all over the world through your kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You go online and you're in another country, so you cook what they're cooking.
Yeah.
Right.
That's like how we did the tour of the Caribbean last summer.
Exactly. So we call this a food tour. You know, like with the guy going, he tastes all, what's his name again? But didn't he pass away?
Right. Yeah, Anthony Bourdain.
And he tastes all these different dishes, and yes, I like to do that in my kitchen. Yeah. Because I like to be creative, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to link in the show notes to that series that we did last summer, for traveling throughout the Caribbean with all these different foods. And the point of that whole series was to highlight the raw vegan deliciousness of the islands, really to normalize this lifestyle and this way of eating, because we all have the capacity to do it. We all have the foods accessible to us.
Yes.
For the most part. In America, it gets a little bit more difficult, but for some people. But yeah, we have these native foods. Our culture allows for us to really enjoy fruits and vegetables.
Exactly. And when you think about people in different countries and so, how they live long, how they look healthy, they don't get sick, they're skinny. Sometimes we need to just watch the food they eat and try some of the stuff they do. I know that they walk a lot. They don't sit down like us here, and but we need to try their food, Just like that video I sent you about the guy who I think I sent it to you. Jamaican Yamin.
Oh, Aris Latham. We've talked about him on
this podcast. It is so interesting. He say don't drink water for 40 years.
Because he's only drinking coconut water.
But the way he eats, why drink water? Because all those things that he's having is very, how would you call it? Very hydrating. Right. So what's the purpose,
Right.
I'm quite sure he go to the bathroom as often as somebody would drink water.
Yeah.
And look at his skin. Look at his skin and look at his body.
Yeah.
Something to
and
die.
He's climbing a tree at what, 80 something?
He's 72 years old.
72, yeah. I'm like, wow. His knees are in great shape.
He went up the tree like a monkey.
I know. He had such good form, and he called it meditation. I love that, because it's like you got this long trip up, What better time to meditate?
Dear God, let me make it. Let me make
it. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get overweight or obese when you have to do that kind of labor for your breakfast every morning.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah. But it keeps you healthy and it keeps you strong. And waking up in that place where you see the trees and the water and you can run on the sun. Oh my God, what a dream.
Yeah. What a dream to be the host of a show called Nyamings, where all you get to do is eat.
Yeah, but
and you get paid for it.
Yes, but it's not all of it because it's a show that I follow a lot, right?
Yeah.
But this is the first I ever see them. They did this session with the. Well, I'm quite sure he's totally vegan.
Yeah, he's raw.
But
He's completely raw.
completely raw because he said his son cook his food.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, he's one of the OGs raw vegans from like the 70s. I think he started his business and
Right. And the man looks wonderful, man. Very, I mean, the man don't have a tit of fat on his body.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
looks very good, you know. I
He's a great
commend him.
example.
Yes. Very good.